Hello, everyone. I'm here with a few young men, and we're going to discuss a few things. We just barely met, so we're going to go ahead and greet these men. Hello, what is your name, sir?
I'm Elder Mitchell.
Elder Mitchell. What is yours?
Elder Allen.
Elder Allen, and he's got a nice grip, you know. Yeah, well, both of you do so. Anyways, well, this is Jordan B. Peterson 2.0, and I'm going to go ahead and have a discussion. You guys, well, is that yours?
No, I just found it on the ground.
Oh, boy, well, we could see what's on there and talk about it or not, so.
No worries, no worries.
Okay, well, anyways, go ahead and what do you have going on? I know you guys are missionaries for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Is that right?
That is correct.
Right, okay, so they believe in Joseph Smith. He's the prophet of the last dispensation of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's right, so, well, let's hear a little from you. Either one go first.
Well, just like you said, we believe that Joseph Smith, that he's a prophet, just like we had prophets like in olden time, like Moses and Abraham, and they led and guided his people.
Yeah, I've been going over the biblical series lately, so this is very interesting. You can bring the camera up a little further so you can hear us better if you want. I'm not sure if the mic's working. So, all right, how's that? We got to make sure we can hear these young men because they're very, they're calm spoken. So,
We'll try to be a little louder.
Okay, that's fine. But we want to, yeah. Anyways.
So yeah, we were talking about prophets, and God has always had prophets on the earth. Like we said with Moses, Abraham, even Adam was a prophet, and eventually Jesus Christ, he fulfilled a role to be a prophet, and he led and guided his people, and he established a church on the earth today.
Okay.
And we believe that pattern that Jesus Christ and God have established of always calling prophets, I continued to Joseph Smith, and we believe that we still have a prophet today. And that would be President Russell M. Nelson.
Oh, okay. And is he the recent one? I heard that the former one passed away not long ago. Is that right?
About 6 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yep, a little bit ago. But
Right.
Yeah, and he's recently turned 100. He'll be turning 101.
Wow,
this
the
next
one that has
September.
passed on, is that right?
No, the current one,
really?
President Nelson. Yes.
Wow, that is amazing. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. That's really getting up there. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You don't know if there's a successor coming along, do you? Or do you guys not worry about that right now?
Well, the way that it's been set up ever since Joseph Smith was a prophet, that it was the next most senior apostle, and so the prophet leads the church with 2 counselors, and so there's a quorum of the first presidency, 3 people, and then there's 12 apostles under them, just like the Savior Jesus Christ had.
Okay.
So
I see how this is being
kind of
set
like
up.
a list of 15 men that help guide the church, and so when President Nelson dies, if he dies, and the next most senior apostle will be ordained to be the prophet, and that'll be Dallin H. Oaks. So.
Oh, okay. So we already, we established that somewhat in the church, right? So, okay, that's interesting. Well, I've been studying the biblical series, and I went over a lot of the children of Israel, Moses, and the crossing of the Red Sea, and all the troubles they dealt with, 40 years in the wilderness, right? So I have a theory about this of the burning bush, and I don't know. Tell me what you guys think about this. So, look, the burning bush, as I understand it, was when Moses went upon the mountain to meet, the Mount Sinai, and from all I can tell, it was psychedelics. So, and I don't know how you guys see that or what you guys look at that, but what do you think about that?
It's like on the Mount Sinai, like is that like where, like he was given the 10 Commandments, like up there?
Yeah, well, when I went upon the mount to talk, he started running troubles with the people down there. They started worshiping the golden calf, all the idols and all that. So anyways, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not totally super familiar with that, if they're on anything or not, but it was definitely not doing what God commanded them.
Yeah, the theory there is actually that the burning bush indicates many things, and it's kind of an archetypal story, right? So, in a sense, it was God showing him through how would you say that? The transformation of the bush to the burning bush, and so it showed him what he needed to know in a way to organize his mind to where he could go to the people, and then he went to them with, that's how I read it. So, and maybe, I could be wrong, but that's how I've been putting it together. So, what do you guys think about that?
Not 100% following you, but from my understanding.
So you guys don't do psychedelics, that's right.
I'm not 100%
Okay.
familiar with the definition of psychedelics.
It's like
Oh,
mushrooms.
Yeah, magic mushrooms. It's a trip, I'll
Okay.
tell you that. If you ain't
Gotcha.
tried any, maybe, well, I don't know if that's allowed,
Yeah.
the coffee and all that. You probably want to stay away from.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Okay.
we don't support the magic mushrooms, if you will.
Okay, well.
And so, from my understanding, God, he did show forth his power through the burning bush. What that exactly represents is, well, God, he communicated with Moses. How exactly, I'm not 100% sure, but
yeah,
it was definitely a show of God's power that he then communicated with Moses.
Okay. So, and then as I understand, so we've got in the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price, and these are all series that are put together in the Book of Mormon. Okay, and I'm somewhat familiar with some of them, and well, I've been thinking about. Well, I read Section 132, and we'll get to that. It's an interesting thing, and I don't know. Did the church do away with Section 132, and they had the plural marriage going on there? Huh?
Yeah, it's still in today's doctrine.
Oh,
and covenants,
really?
yeah.
Okay. So are they actually performing plural marriage or no?
Not the church itself. So
Okay.
yeah, and so like through the Bible, like people like Abraham, David, all those there's lots of prophets in the Old Testament. They had plural wives.
Right.
So-
And it's kind of exciting, but then you start looking at it and you're like, well, there was concubines in the early days and all that stuff, but we kind of leave it alone because we got to keep society, held together with the structures that have actually been holding it together. So that's really what we've been doing here. So, I kind of like it. I know a little about the Kingstons and the FLDS and a few other groups out there. And they do plural marriage, and they have to hide things, keep it secretive, and there's a lot of trauma in the families there, and so yeah, maybe the church is doing something right. So that's really encouraging to hear. Right.
Yeah, the commandment of plural marriage has been given and taken away throughout time. One particular passage I enjoy is in Jacob 2 in the Book of Mormon, where the Lord establishes that he can give the commandment of plural marriage and also take it away at times.
Oh, is
And
that right?
That
Wow.
it is really when he commands it, that's when it is to take place, and we know that he's commanded that it should not take place at a time, and so the members of the church don't perform plural marriage.
Well, that keeps it probably a little safer, a little more, what did you say, peaceful, because, with one woman it's bad enough, right? But then you get 2 or 3 or 4, or God knows, maybe, one cult leader has like 68 wives. I don't know how he does it. Well, I'm sure he's, probably, yeah, I mean, he's a busy man, or actually the one I'm thinking of, he's in jail, so we don't want to talk about him anymore, so. But I wanted to cover a few more things with you guys while you're here. So, what exactly do you guys think about the new organization and the rising of the church, where they got social media going out, and there's some people that have controversial views, other people, not so much. They kind of like the organization. So, what do you guys? What would you say to people who are having a problem with the church? Because I know you guys probably, have something there, a comeback,
just with doctrines about it,
Well,
like
you
what's
ever meet people on the street? Look, so if you walk up to somebody and you try to, do a missionary program, and you walk up to them and you say, hey, sir, hello, and you tell them, and they act a little vicious, but they keep talking like they want to fight. How do you guys deal with it if you're going to continue interacting with them? How does that work?
question? Well, I mean, every missionary kind of does it their own way, but I think I think it's just important that we can just diffuse the situation as quick as possible. As the Savior, as he came to teach the people, he taught them the mode and doctrine of baptism in 3 Nephi chapter 11. He says, "Contention is not of me, but is of the devil." And so, I think that would be the first most important part for us to follow Jesus Christ. That we would try to be as uncontentious as we can, because without that, the Spirit can't be there. But I think the most important thing is just as we gain our own witness, that's the most important thing. It doesn't matter if someone tells me that I should be a part of their church, but I would need to find out that answer myself from God. And for us, that comes from inviting people to read the Book of Mormon and pray about it.
Okay, that's really good to hear. I like that, to keep it peaceful and all that. So, well, another question is, how many converts are you guys able to get coming? Do you have a lot of people who are interested and who are, act like they're ready to come and join the church?
Throughout the world, there are many people who are very interested in end up joining the church.
Okay.
In this particular area, it's a little bit more interesting.
Oh,
with the
I
roots
imagine.
of polygamy and
Yeah, this is Colorado City, Arizona. Well, this is Hilldale, Utah. Well, right on the border. It's the creek is what they call this. So,
yep. So here's a little bit different, and so there are varying stages of acceptance and interest.
yeah.
But generally, there are still quite a few who are very interested in how they
Yeah.
can grow their relationship with God and with Jesus Christ.
Okay. Well, so have you ever had converts out of this community here, the FLDS? Have you ever had converts come over, or is it a lot harder because of the trauma, the original trauma?
It depends on each one of their personal situations.
Oh,
We've
okay,
gotten
okay.
To work with quite a few people who come from this background, and each of them are very different, and their concerns are very different.
Right, that
But
makes a lot of sense.
There's quite a few that are very willing to join the church, and that do.
Right, okay. Well, that's good to hear. And I heard you guys have another church coming up, and I may have seen it. I went down the road there, and I saw a beautiful building being put up. Is that the one right there with a concrete mixer out front?
Yeah.
It is.
Wow, that's a beautiful building. And then, so they're going to have a church up here, and it's a really nice place. So, But I would like to go over my biblical series with you guys if you have a moment. Maybe I'll talk to you about that. So,
Okay.
well. So I've been tackling with an idea, and this one has to do with Moses and crossing the Red Sea. So he was dealing with a lot of trouble, and well, he ran into an issue there where people started fighting and they didn't believe in him. Well, God opened up the Red Sea and they crossed on dry ground. You guys heard that story, right?
Of course.
Wow, okay, well, I really like that one because it's like, you know what? If you're dealing with problems, so look, if you have a problem that's too big for you, do what Moses did. Turn that Red Sea into dry ground and walk across. Well, and I think he did that in a metaphoric state. Like, it's a lot like Geppetto saving his father from the belly of the whale. You have to go in. It's real rough, but you got to face what it is you got to face, and then everything brings itself up in such a manner you can be able to encounter what it is that will take place in order to accomplish the thing you need to accomplish. So that's really, most of what I had to say. All right, so.
Well, it was so good to meet with you, Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, really good to meet with you, young men. And we will go ahead and we'll switch over to the Daily Wire program, and we'll talk more about their lives, and we'll get into all the details. Well, these are with the Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro and the guys, they've been really good to me. They have a beautiful place there. They set us up in one, well, they didn't wipe off the table that well right there. But hey, you know what? It's good enough because we got to continue how we can. So I really appreciate it, guys, and we'll see you over there. And thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.